How's it going, John?
Hey, Eric. It's going good. It's going good. How you doing tonight?
Uh, I'm glad you pinged me because I had actually was forgotten. Like it just slipped my mind that tonight was podcast night. So
Well, it is not the normal night, but I was flying
no,
home last night, so
yeah,
uh,
and I will be driving home tomorrow night. So squeeze it in between Wednesday and Friday.
exactly, exactly. Well, hope you've had a good trip.
Yeah, it was last Friday. So last week I was heading out on the trip. So last Friday we drove out, picked up my boy from college, drove down to Grandma's house. I ended up flying to Texas from Grandma's house for a couple of days for work. Got back in time to see my daughter's concert, and kind of been working from Grandma's house for a couple of days, and it was fantastic. Her concert was fantastic,
That's awesome.
and so now just recording, and then tomorrow morning I'll be back in the car for the remaining 800 miles of the journey.
Are you gonna try? You're gonna do it all in one day?
Oh
Just
yeah,
early,
yeah,
just push. Yeah, okay.
just roll
Yeah,
through.
12-hour day.
We stop a lot, stop for lunch, get out at rest stops. My boy is big with he likes his camera, so he wants to
Yeah,
take pictures along the way. So it'll be fun.
that's awesome. That's totally awesome. Yeah, I really did enjoy our road trip. I like driving, so um,
Mm-hmm.
that's cool. That's cool. Well,
Mm-hmm.
drive safe.
Yep.
No weather between here and there.
It's supposed to rain, but not bad.
Not yeah.
Uh,
Cool, cool.
there's thunderstorms tonight here, which you don't get a lot of those in Oregon. So they're
No,
a treat, I guess you could
no.
call
Got lots of rain, but not many thunderstorms.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I had a great weekend, but it was packed weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Because Saturday was Orange and Black Day, so my younger boy's going to go to Oregon State next year,
Oh, that's right.
and
That's right. I
yeah,
was thinking
and so
Halloween. Oh, I get it. Okay, I gotcha. I gotcha. Oregon State.
yeah, so but we had that meant like we had to be down in Corvallis to sign up, evidently between 7:30 and 8, but evidently 2 years ago, um, uh, a friend of his, their sister her sister had gone, and there had been a whole bunch of tables and other stuff that they wished, this other family we went with really wished that they had been there earlier. So we optimized for getting there at 7:30, and we got there. So, but it's a hour and 40 minutes, like if you
Yeah,
just
yeah.
drive, and add 10 minutes to go through a drive-through or something like that. Anyway, so it was an early start, but
Uh-huh.
so we got down there, and it was pretty much all day thing. So that was really cool. Got to see a bunch of places on campus, and um, the other dad that we were with had gone to OSU as well, as did my wife and I for a couple of years. But we went as grad students, so like we
Right.
never really participated in the on campus anything. Like there were
Right.
the two engineering buildings that I was in. There were like the two forestry and sort of agricultural buildings that my wife was in. And we lived off campus. Anyway, so there was lots of the campus that we've been to a number of times over the years slash decades, but it was fun going with somebody who was like, oh, here it is, it's over here, and kind of took
Right.
us around, and we did the tour, and anyway, so that was fun. That was pretty much all day Saturday. Um, and uh, we'd had a little bit of sickness, so we had hoped to kind of have dinner with some friends down there, but didn't want to get them sick.
Ah, yeah.
Anyway, blah blah blah. So another time, rain check. Assuming I've got a kiddo down there, we'll be going to Corvallis, I'm sure, quite a bit more in the next couple of years. So
Uh-huh.
time to see some of our other friends down there. Plenty of time to see some of our other friends down there, hopefully. Anyway, so that was that, and then Sunday. Oh my gracious sakes! I Sunday was John puts on his farmer hat day. And
Farmer John. Okay.
yeah, I had I had picked up some fertilizer. So it was like feed things and kill things, plants.
Feed
And
things and kill things.
well,
Okay.
I had picked up 20 bags, so I guess 1,000 pounds of fertilizer and 1,000 pounds of lime to spread on a couple of pastures. So that takes a not small amount of time. And
Mm-hmm.
then I also like we planted these pastures a few years ago, but we I needed to spray a broad leaf kill in them. There's so much tansy and Russian thistle and some
Okay.
dock and other things coming up that like needed to be taken care of. So I think I took me hours to do. I think I did seven tanks of brash in them, which is kind of a broadleaf killer. And I think my tank is only like 15 or 20 gallons, so it's a total pain in the Batuski. And the thing that was like slaying me is when my neighbor moved out last year, I bought a bigger spray tank from him.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to get a friend to come and weld a bar on it and some other things, which I of course didn't do this winter. And then when it came time to go, I had to go with
Uh,
the John C clamps the bar on the front of the tractor and wires up underneath and clamps onto the battery
right.
and my little alligator clip up by that I just wire up near the steering wheel so I could like
Farmer
put on and off.
Macgyver.
Yeah, so I was all excited about getting that all set up, and I did not. So next, it'll be a project for this summer is
Mm.
my intent, but we'll
Okay.
see. So
Okay.
anyway, it was a long weekend. I enjoy, putting on my headphones and listening to a story though.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's nothing wrong with that. But I think I got a little bit of sunburn slash tan.
Mm.
So anyway, but that's okay. It's all
Okay.
good. It's all good. Well, I threw a quick follow up in here. I must have missed this last week
I didn't
because
see it either.
it happened before we recorded. But the BBC, the
Uh-huh.
judge in the BBC, it said, sided with a coalition of civil liberties groups and news organizations, including the BBC, and ruled a legal row between the UK government and Apple over data privacy cannot be held in secret, which is fantastic. It says the government had argued it would damage national security if the nature of the legal action and the parties to it were made public, but in a ruling published on Monday morning, the tribunal rejected that request, pointing to the extensive media reporting of the row and highlighting the legal principle of open justice. For the reasons that are set out in our private judgment, we do not accept that the revelation of the bare details of the case would be damaging to the public interest or prejudicial to national security. Apple, of course, declined to comment.
Of course.
Sorry, that, of course, was mine. But evidently, in a previous statement, I might have read this or something like this earlier,
Yeah, yeah.
but it said, Apple remains committed to offering our users highest level of security, blah, blah, blah. The quote I really liked was, as we have said many times before, we have never built a backdoor or master key to any of our products or services, and we never will. I sure hope that is and
Deal
remains
with it.
true.
Yeah.
But there you go. So follow up
Hmm.
on that.
Okay.
More to come, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I guess similarly, my topic, I actually saw a few weeks ago, but was preempted by a different topic. So I'm going back to that one. This one I thought was just
Okay.
interesting because it is um, a software developer from 2019. So he was let go in a corporate restructuring in 2019. So this is a while ago. So it's been winding
Okay.
its way through the legal system because he built a kill switch after being demoted in the company so that when he lost his job or was let go or whatever, it would release, they call it custom malware and kill switches. But the malicious activities included code that ran in an infinite loop, exhausting the production server's resources and eventually causing the system to crash and preventing user logins. And these infinite loops were designed to exhaust Java threads by repeatedly generating new threads without proper termination. So he had basically built a he had plenty of time apparently to put all this stuff in place. And so at some point he had this kill switch, which he codenamed is DL enabled in AD, which apparently was his name was Davis Liu, an abbreviation for is Davis Liu enabled in Active Directory. And so if his user ID was ever disabled in Active Directory,
not read this.
The kill switch automatically triggered. And so when he was terminated on September 9th, 2019, thousands of employees lost access to systems. And when the day he was directed to return the company laptop, he reportedly deleted encrypted data. The DOJ Internet says Internet search queries also revealed that Liu had been searching for ways to elevate privileges, hide processes, and quickly delete files. So, of course, your search history, yet another. Anyways, the jury convicted Liu of causing intentional damage to protected computers, a charge that carries a maximum penalty of 10 years in prison. When I read this article, the sentencing date had not been set yet. So, if you don't like your employer or you want, you think you're pretty smart, there's now at least one among, I'm sure, many legal precedents for, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
Anyways,
don't do that.
There you go. Kill switches. That's what do they call it? The call is coming from inside the house. Malicious insiders. Well,
malicious insider.
There you go.
Yeah. Is DL enabled in AD?
Yeah. If you just set yourself up a little script that looks
but also use your own initials.
Well,
what? I mean, not that blame or presumably they have.
I'm sure they had
tracking and there's other things to do, but
that's probably why that one's called out, is because it was he. This is funny. He named it after himself. So
wow,
there you go.
Well,
fun stuff.
Okay, that's an I hadn't read that. That's oh my. Well, I have something that's almost as dumb. Maybe. No. So this is from yesterday. Actually, I guess it was from the article was from 2 days ago on Krebs on security.
Okay.
Which was that the CVE database, which is the common vulnerability database, we've mentioned CVEs on here a bunch, and it's actually an open database run by MITRE, but funded historically by the federal government, Department of Homeland Security, as an open project.
Right.
And their funding expired yesterday, as we're recording this. Expired yesterday. So there was a letter that was leaked to the board of directors that, basically said that, the funding was set to run out. And evidently this isn't the first time it has kind of come down to the wire. But at the moment, the program is funded through CISA, which is a part of DHS, the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency. But CISA is in a whole bunch of chaos, as is the rest of the government at the moment. And the quote here is, DHS officials did not immediately respond to a request for comment. The program is funded through DHS's Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, which is currently facing deep budget and staffing cuts by the Trump administration. The CVE contract available at usaspending.gov said the project was awarded approximately $40 million last year. So the other quote I pulled out of here is that from chief operating officer of Corellium, which does phone virtualization software, says, what the CVE list provides is a standardized way to describe the severity of the defect and a centralized repository listing which versions of which products are defective and need to be updated. So common vulnerability, right? As of the writing, MITRE had told Krebs that the CVE listing would remain, the website would remain up, but no CVEs would be added after April 16th.
Okay.
But, so, totally dumb. Let's drive this car off a cliff. Dumb. But, evidently, yesterday morning at, it says 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the CVE board announced the creation of a nonprofit entity called the CVE Foundation that will continue the program's work under a new unspecified funding mechanism and organizational structure. So the quote here, this was interesting. Since its inception, the CVE program has operated as a U.S. government-funded initiative with oversight and management provided under contract. While this structure has supported the program's growth, it also raised long-standing concerns among members of the CVE board about the sustainability and neutrality of a globally relied upon resource being tied to a single government sponsor. Interesting. Sort of. I can see that, but I can also see, okay, so who's stepping up to fund it? What government's stepping up to fund it? Because there have been historical things.
Stepping up to fund it?
Remember a couple years ago, there were problems with getting some software vulnerabilities in from... Anyway. So then there was another update yesterday afternoon that said... so MITRE issued a statement saying, quote, "It identified incremental funding to keep the programs operational. We appreciate the overwhelming support for these programs that have been expressed by the global cyber community, industry, and government over the last 24 hours. The government continues to make considerable efforts to support MITRE's role in the program, and MITRE remains committed to CVE and CWE as global resources." So they haven't said what their funding structure is.
Right.
The website, let me just go reload it real quick, just has the statement up.
So government is cutting their funding. So they go find other funding. Government finds out who they're getting funding for and said, oh, that's less good. How about if we fund it again?
I don't know. I hadn't caught that there's a quote in the thing from Kent Landfield, who's somebody that we know.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
Interesting. Okay. It just says that CVE as a cornerstone of the global cybersecurity ecosystem is too important to be vulnerable itself. Cybersecurity professionals around the globe rely on CVE identifiers and data as part of their daily work. Yes. So anyway, I'm sure there will be more.
There you go.
Will you share your names? Some members will. Some members are not ready. Anyway, so we'll see, but maybe catastrophe averted. I will say that if you look at the frequently asked questions, there's the shrug emoji that you and I use quite a bit, which I find funny. But there you go.
Nice.
Go open MITRE. I guess open CVE. It says the CVEfoundation.org is the actual website, but
okay. All right.
Anyway, how about something fun?
All right, so I think everyone who drives a vehicle in a, a town or city of any reasonable size has tried to get
Yes.
onto a freeway or a highway and has had to deal with on ramp traffic lights, that only let one car go at a time.
Metering. Yep.
Yep. The ramp meters. So, if why they're there, I think everybody can smartly figure out the design is to keep traffic flowing smoothly. But then you get up to that and you see the traffic flowing very quickly on the freeway, and you're like left, right, left, right, left, right, slowly getting on. So it's be a little frustrating. And so you may sit there thinking, wouldn't this be faster if these on ramps weren't metered? And does metering actually work? Is there proof?
Uh-huh.
Or was this just somebody thinking, hey, here's another government program
They
that we're
have
going
a
to put in
bright
place
idea.
that sounds like a good idea, but in practice doesn't? Well, Minnesota, my current favorite state, for about 6 weeks. For about 6 weeks, the Minnesota Department of Transportation collected as much data as possible on traffic flow. If you could measure it or record it, they probably did. And then on October 16th, I assume this is last year, Minnesota Department of Transportation temporarily switched off all 430 ramp meters, and then got back to measuring and recording every variable it could. Unsurprisingly, according to this, highway speeds dropped significantly during rush hour with the meters turned off. In addition, sideswiped crashes also tripled, with total wrecks jumping 27%. And the slower
Wow.
traffic also meant more emissions and dirtier air, which is something you can also measure, which is kind of a problem for us. The article says, which is kind of a problem for those of us who have lungs. So clearly ramp meters work. There's more in the article about, the ramp metering, but I just thought it was interesting because now I'm waiting for the lawsuits from the people who got in a wreck. Hey, it's because you turned off the ramp meters
Right, right.
that I got in this wreck. Your own data shows it. So, personal responsibility, folks. But anyways, I thought that was an interesting article about ramp meters. And yes, they work. And yes, they can be frustrating. But we now have data, thank you, Minnesota, that proves that they are doing positive things for your commute,
Right.
for those
Right,
of you
right.
who have to commute.
So you must have shared this article with me at some point because I
I think I
remember
dropped
reading
it in
this.
Slack.
Oh, maybe you dropped it in Slack, and
Yeah.
yeah, and I looked at it there. So two things. The first of which is I don't think this was last year. This was in the late 19. It says the late 1900s. Because it says just before the turn of the century, one Minnesota lawmaker who was convinced meters didn't work got them temporarily turned off, giving us a rare look at how effective ramp meters actually are. So this is not new data, but they totally work. But the other interesting thing you didn't really pull out of here, but that I thought was very interesting, I remember when I read it, is that it the drivers with longer commutes benefit more than
Yeah.
drivers who live just in or just outside of the city. So, they help if you get on the freeway and get to stay on the freeway for longer,
Right.
which is I mean, really the freeways are kind of the arteries, right? Kind of
Yeah.
really helping you get from the suburbs in or anyway. But yeah, that's totally brilliant. And whoever at the transportation department who saw that coming and was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. Like, go get the data. Brilliant. Just brilliant.
I like the go get the data.
Yeah.
It's stuff we should all live by. Go get data and then make
Yeah.
decisions. So.
This is my data. What's your data? show me your data.
Show
Okay.
me the data.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Well, so my something fun. My birthday was a while back, a few weeks ago or
Mm-hmm.
something like that, and my favorite cake is carrot cake. And I did not
Mm-hmm.
get carrot cake on my birthday. It just didn't happen to be on the
It's a
menu when we were
tragedy.
getting. It was a
Travesty.
travesty. It was a travesty. But and ironically, the restaurant we went to the night before my birthday had carrot cake, and I looked at it and I was like, "Ooh, that carrot cake looks delicious." But it
Mm.
was an Italian restaurant, and I ate too much. Like
Mm.
I was not good for dessert. Anyway, whatever. So just the reason I'm saying this is because this past week I was able to have a piece of carrot cake, which was stupidly large, but anyway, I blah blah blah. But it was delicious, and I was very happy about it. And I thought my something fun would be carrot cake. And so there's a the Wikipedia. I was like, where did carrot cake actually come from? And so I went to Wikipedia, and sure enough, I mean, obviously, there's a Wikipedia article for everything, but evidently, carrot cake, the origin of carrot cake, it says, is disputed.
Of
So,
course it is.
of course, it is, because evidently this is not like a yesterday kind of thing. It says published in 1591. There's
Mm.
an English recipe for, quote, pudding in a carrot root, which is essentially a carrot stuffed with meat. Okay, I
That
don't like
sounds
meat in my
weird.
carrot cake, but it includes many elements common to the modern dessert: shortening, cream, eggs, raisins, sweetener, spices, scraped carrot, and breadcrumbs in place of flour. So many food historians believe that carrot cake originated in such carrot puddings eaten by Europeans in the Middle Ages, when sugar and sweeteners were expensive and many people used carrots as a substitute for sugar. Yeah,
Ah,
okay.
okay. All right.
Evidently, it also showed up in 1814 in the volume 2 of a cookbook. The former chef to Louis the 16th included a recipe for gâteau de carrots. I guess gâteau means cake, which was
Okay.
popular enough to be copied verbatim in competitors' cookbooks. And then in 1824, there was an English version which included a recipe for, quote, carrot cakes in a literal translation of his earlier recipe. So
Mm.
there you go. Very interesting. There's a bunch of regional variations. And evidently, I didn't know this, but I might have to celebrate. February 3rd is National Carrot Cake Day in Brazil. So there you go. Um,
Uh, John has now added Brazil to his bucket list of places to visit.
okay. Beef and carrot cake.
Head to Argentina, swing back up through Brazil.
Well, Brazil's a good
They have their, yeah.
a good place to eat too. Anyway, so there you go.
Mhm.
There you go. Carrot cake.
All
I
right.
recommend it. Although I will tell you, my wife has got a recipe for carrot cake, which she puts in a jar of our homemade applesauce in it, in addition to the carrots.
Mm.
Oh my gosh, it is to die for. It is very good. Anyway,
Okay.
yum. Anyway,
Ah,
there you go.
on that note,
Now you can take your dessert cravings and go to sleep. All right.
all right.
Drive safe tomorrow.
Yep.
Ha, ha,
We
ha,
will see you.
have a good time. Talk to you later.
All right.
Bye,
Night.
Eric.
Bye.